Welcome. I'm Dr. Brown, and I'm thrilled to be presenting day two of the Reset, Restore, and Renew program. The topic today is gratitude. And boy, could we ever use some of that right now. Like, sort of putting some gratitude in our attitude. All right. So when I think of gratitude, I think a gift that keeps on giving because gratitude really is a fundamental, emotion and mood that we experience. And from gratitude, from that fundamental space of gratitude, other positive things generally tend to emerge from that. So it just keeps on giving. It's like playing it forward. But also, there's this thing called toxic positivity that we'll address later, and that's quite different than gratitude. And that might be a case in where we want to take a deeper look at what we're thinking at those times of toxic positivity and take a look at the difference between that and gratitude. We'll do that in a moment. Well, just yesterday, as I was preparing for today's session, I came across a TED Talk by a brilliant man. He's a Benedictine monk and a spiritual teacher. His name is David Steindl-Rast. He believes that we've got the relationship between happiness and gratitude backwards. He says, quote, "We all know quite a number of people who have everything and they are not happy because they want something else or they want more of the same." And he goes on to say, "And we all know people who have lots of misfortune that we ourselves would not want to have, and they are deeply happy." He goes on to ask why. He states, because they are grateful. So it is not happiness that makes us grateful, it's gratefulness that makes us happy. That's the end of his quote. So it's not happiness that makes us grateful, it's gratefulness that makes us happy. That's just amazing. Think about that. That gives us so much more agency towards our emotions and our sense of contentment and happiness. Because if we can practice gratitude, which we'll learn in this talk today that we can, and science proves its effectiveness, then we have something to say about whether or not we're happy or contented in life. So let's continue to look here, okay? Another person I came across just yesterday was a young woman named Haley Bartholomew. She lives in Queensland, Australia. She talked about an exercise that she employed to up her gratitude game, okay? She'd been feeling down for a little while and just wanted to shake it up a bit. So she decided to take a photo of every day for a year of the sights that stirred her gratitude. Anything from like the color green to her favorite umbrella to weeds blowing in the wind, a jewel sitting on her daughter's shirt, just things that she could appreciate. But when she zoomed in on the object and the appreciation it aroused in her, something else happened. She found herself looking beyond her preconceptions and stale stories to take in a much deeper sense of the people, places, and things that she appreciates. It sounds like such a great idea that I've decided to take that on myself. And so far, it's only been a couple of days. It seems to be working. There's something about it that does seem to be working. So I'll let you know later how that works after a year. So, all of this to say that there's no shortage of opportunity to experience and express gratitude. And in doing so, you might just surprise yourself at the return on investment, the ROI. So, what is gratitude? Begs the question, what is gratitude? According to Webster's, gratitude is a feeling or quality of being grateful, a strong feeling of appreciation to someone or something for what the person or thing has done to help you. One important thing to note about Webster's definition of gratitude is that it is largely a social phenomenon. Therefore, gratitude has great potential to take one out of oneself and to strengthen bonds between people. It involves a process of recognizing first, that one has obtained a positive outcome, and second, that there is an external source for that good outcome. In other words, you cannot experience gratitude without acknowledging your relationship with at least one other person, pet, or a source of some kind, whatever that might be in your belief system. Many researchers of gratitude even surmise that this social emotion strengthens relationships and its roots run deep in evolutionary history, emanating from the survival value of helping others and being helped in return. When we think of gratitude, we usually think of it as a spontaneous feeling, but increasingly, research demonstrates its value as a practice, as I alluded to before, as something we can actually take on as a practice. Okay. We'll be looking at this in a minute, making a conscious effort throughout the day to be grateful. We'll look at that. We can proactively cultivate and nurture gratitude, and there are important social and personal benefits to doing so. When you really think about it, there are no limitations to gratitude. Gratitude generates positivity that reaches out both that reaches both inward and extends outward. Gratitude is an emotion and it tends to make us feel happier. It's also a mood. Gratefulness is a mood. How does gratitude differ from toxic positivity? This is an important piece here. Okay. So listen up. Genuine gratitude makes a conscious effort to reflect on life's gifts and cultivate appreciation. We can value what we have while also recognizing that life is often far from perfect. Gratitude accepts the imperfections and challenges of life without censoring our feelings about them. It encourages us to feel all of our emotions, the gamut of our emotions. To be truly healing, it must encompass the entire experience, including the anger, the grief, the stress, and the fear that is so common these days, particularly in this era of COVID, of the COVID. In gratitude, we can acknowledge the difficult stuff as well as the good. Okay, gratitude balances our perspective, broadens our awareness of reality, and supports our mental health and well being as well. Gratitude makes the most of reality and embraces all emotions. Toxic positivity, on the other hand, creates a fantasy land that suppresses and denies difficult emotions and only masks reality for a while. Okay, toxic positivity is when we wish we were feeling something we weren't. And so we admonish ourselves to feel differently by saying to ourselves some version of think positive. All right. Well, oftentimes that leads to poor decisions and poor behaviors because we reach out for something external to ourselves to feel good because we think we should be or have to be feeling good. What will people think if we're not positive and happy? Well, this oftentimes leads to acting out, to behaviors that are self-sabotage type behaviors, or even addictions and substance abuse. So we really have to watch it with this toxic positivity. It's leading us to feel even worse because we can't access the gratitude. If we feel like we can't access the gratitude, we feel worse. Therefore, we may be left trying to supplant the uncomfortable feeling with something positive instead, as I was saying before, with the addictions and the poor choices and erratic behaviors that might come from trying to supplant this uncomfortable feeling with something positive. Okay, that's where toxic positivity comes into play. Okay, and should be watched out for. If instead we cultivate curiosity about what we're feeling, then we're on the path towards transforming the negative emotion into something positive like gratitude. So, how can we be grateful without letting others or society off the hook? Well, when practicing gratitude, simply recognize that the bad you see is not the whole story. Don't allow the reality of what's bad to blind you to the good you receive from others. So there is a science to gratitude, all right? And gratitude research suggests that gratitude may be associated with better physical and psychological well being, increased happiness and life satisfaction, as we've been talking about, as well as decreased materialism. Okay. Some studies have shown that people that express gratitude more often are healthier, and others suggest that practices designed to increase gratitude can also improve people's health and encourage them to adopt healthier habits like choosing healthier foods or moving more, like exercising. So we can now really start to see a big difference between gratitude, true gratitude, and toxic positivity. Many studies have examined possible connections between gratitude and various elements of psychological well being. In general, more grateful people are happier, more satisfied with their lives, less materialistic, and less likely to suffer from burnout. Some studies have found that gratitude practices like keeping a gratitude journal or writing a letter of gratitude can increase a person's happiness and overall positive mood. One study found that more grateful cardiac patients reported better sleep, less fatigue, and were found to have lower levels of cellular inflammation. And another found that heart failure patients who kept the gratitude journal for 8 weeks were more grateful and had reduced signs of inflammation afterwards. Clear-cut signs of gratitude and inflammation. Gratitude serves to decrease inflammation, probably having to do with stress hormones like cortisol, which encourage inflammation if chronic. Other studies have found people that are more grateful experience less depression and are more resilient to trauma. Other studies have shown that gratitude is, in fact, the mother of all virtues and encourages other virtues such as patience, humility, and wisdom to come forth. So, speaking about bodily health and gratitude, let's take a look at how gratitude impacts metabolism. A study from the National Institute of Health looked at blood flow in the brain regions of those expressing gratitude. They found that higher gratitude levels led to higher activity levels in the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus controls many of our bodily functions, including eating, drinking, sleeping, stress, and metabolism. Through this mechanism, it is believed that the practice of gratitude can have a beneficial effect on our metabolism as well as our overall metabolic health and well-being. This makes sense because we know that the enhancement of these bodily functions will lead to an overall healthier body and a reduced chance of illness. So practicing gratitude can really be a game changer. Its effects can extend from improving physical as well as emotional health, as we've discussed already, to creating, strengthening, improving relationships, which we've also discussed so far. When we start to incorporate gratitude into our daily lives, we begin to notice the little things that count towards having a fulfilling life. These moments add up to developing a fabric of well-being that over time strengthens your ability to notice the good in your daily life. For us humans, increasing our capacity for gratitude is built in, but it does take practice to strengthen and to build. The more you can bring your attention to that which you feel grateful for, the more you'll notice to feel grateful for. So as I mentioned before, many researchers feel that there's an evolutionary reason behind gratitude, and that is to, create social bonds, okay? Well, as I just stated, increasing the capacity of gratitude the capacity for gratitude is built in. We all have the capacity, but it does take practice to strengthen and build it, okay? I suggest that you start with a simple observation of those moments of gratitude. Perhaps pick 1 or 2 times in your day to observe when you're feeling grateful and really see if you can experience it deeply. Another fantastic gratitude practice that I learned from the Benedictine monk that I mentioned at the beginning of the session, Brother David Steindl-Rast has an exercise that he refers to as stop, look, and go. Check this one out. First, you stop and reside in stillness of the present moment, sort of a mindfulness moment. Then you look for the wonderful richness that is given to you. Not only looking with your eyes, but rather with all of your senses, okay? And so that's the look part. And finally, go. By this, he means to do something, to not only end the gratitude there, but to act on it in a way that truly expresses that gratefulness and that we are so fortunate to receive it. Oftentimes, this may come in the form of paying it forward or simply a smile or eye contact with another person. As David Steindl-Rast says, it has no end. Okay. So I always end these with 3 takeaways. All right. And the number one takeaway for gratitude is this: gratitude is a social phenomenon. When you think about it, it's very difficult to generate gratitude in isolation. Not to say that we cannot experience and express gratitude toward, let's say, a pet or an inanimate object, or even towards ourselves. It's just that what we know about the amazing restorative quality of gratitude is that it runs deepest when experienced in a relationship. This relationship can be with a family member, a friend, or an acquaintance, or even the anonymous person that held the elevator door for you earlier today, or let you go first online, whatever it might be. It could be that. So the point is, engaged gratitude gives more bang for the buck. All right, when you really engage and you give and take and you give and take and you have that sense of what goes around comes around attitude towards your gratitude. Number 2 takeaway is that gratitude is one of the least expensive and at the same time most powerful remedies for what may ail you. Both physically and emotionally, gratitude has time and again proven to increase happiness and life satisfaction, decrease materialism, improve health, and encourage you to adopt healthier habits. That said, takeaway number 3 is that expressing gratitude often leads to the expression of many other positive virtues like patience, empathy, and compassion. It's the gift that keeps on giving. All right. In fact, gratitude is often referred to as the mother of all virtues. In a word, gratitude is almost literally just the gift that keeps on giving. So here's my bonus tidbit. I end the discussions with a bonus tidbit for you. Okay. Other studies have unveiled yet another aspect of gratitude that lends to finding and building deeper relationships. It's called the find, remind, bind theory. The find, remind, bind theory. It was proposed by a US psychologist, Sarah Algo, from the University of North Carolina, and she suggests that expressing gratitude may prompt individuals to pay back the kindness that they have received, and can also motivate a person to make decisions that will strengthen their relationships. Gratitude may increase a person's desire to spend more time with someone, and it encourages pro-social behaviors. Most of us were taught that saying thank you is simply the polite thing to do, but saying thank you goes beyond good manners. It also serves to build and maintain social relationships. This premise has its base in this find, remind, and bind theory of gratitude. The find function, which initiates the new social relationships, okay? This orients people to existing social relationships, which is a remind function, okay? And this then promotes the bind function, which is maintenance of and investment in these relationships. As with all emotions, gratitude can be both felt and expressed. The evidence on how feeling gratitude functions to find, remind, and bind in social relationships is robust. The studies have been done on this. And, it also backs up that whole idea of the evolutionary aspect of gratitude, how over time, us human beings develop this capacity for gratitude in order to encourage and strengthen social bonds and therefore safety, security, and also reproduction. So very powerful aspect of gratitude. From promoting, helping, and trust to lowering aggression, feeling grateful gives rise to a wide range of outcomes that benefit both parties in a social relationship. Okay, so with huge appreciation and gratitude, thank you all for coming today. And until next session, stay well and grab those opportunities for gratitude wherever you can. Stay well and see you next time.